The Eagles lose a close one to the Niners. The Phillies lose to the worst team in possibly the history of baseball. And Ben Simmons won't show up for camp. Kevin Hayes also out for 4 to 6 weeks with surgery. Yeah, it's a bad day to be a Philly sports fan. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the More Than Philly Sports Network. It's great to be back with all of you today. It is Tuesday, September 21st, 2021, 5:01 p.m. here on the East Coast. It's gonna be a fun one today for anyone who enjoys a lot of screaming and entertainment. As always, joined alongside my co-host Gavin Tony. Gavin, welcome to the show. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope you had a good start to the week. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Zach. Listen, I had fun over the weekend. I ended up going to a little, I guess you would call it a state fair. I won me a goldfish, Zach. So yeah, that's fun. But how are you doing, sir? I heard you got into some fun this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, played some golf as always, trying to continue to get out there. Played pretty well. Claimed my victory, of course, over some friends. So I'm pretty happy with that. I think that it sounds pretty fun. I don't see it. Where is it? Is it dead already? You're losing already. Where is it? I'm trying to look in the background. I don't know where it is. I don't know where it went.
It's a Libya's fish, all right? It's a Libya's goldfish,
okay,
all right? She named it Cupcake, but if you ask me, it's Devontae. All right, I'm getting my own fish pretty soon, so give me like a week or two, and it's gonna be someone over here. Devontae Fish is gonna be over here, and he's.
I like it. Devontae Fish. It's got a good ring to it. I guess you can say. But no, let's dive right into it. They are a team that is young and immature, and it showed this week. They're talented, but they're young and immature. Jalen Hurts missed on a lot of key throws. There were a couple of plays where there was a miscommunication, and the rookie head coach Nick Sirianni did not have, in the slightest, his best day as a play caller. But I've said this before. I'm going to reiterate it now, and I'm going to say it again. Young, talented teams lose to good teams by one possession. And that was held true this weekend. It was held very much true over this weekend. And they lost by, it was 17-3, and then they got a touchdown. They got the 2-point conversion. It just sucks because they were so dominant for the majority of that game. They were so dominant for the first quarter. They were even pinned back in their end zone. They were pinned back at the 2-yard line, maybe 1-yard line. And Quez Watkins had a 91-yard bomb. They didn't score on that drive. Another time down there, they didn't score. It's similar issues to before. No matter who quarterback is, no matter what the issues are, the Philadelphia Eagles need to run the ball every single time out. I'm going to read some stats here. First of all, during those 2 red zone trips where they didn't score, they did not run the ball on any of those yards. But Miles Sanders, 13 carries. He averaged 4.2 yards on the ground. At no point was this greater than a 2-possession game, and he only ran the ball 13 times. That's horrible. Dallas Goedert, 2 receptions, 24 yards. Watkins had 117. Of course, that 91-yarder would take care of that. Devontae Smith, 2 for 16. Zach Ertz, 1 for 6. Jalen Reagor, 2 for 5. He had a touchdown called back because he stepped out of bounds. I'm not frustrated with this because it's my expectation of this Eagles team. They are a team that's going to go 6-11, maybe 7-10. But they're not as good as they were against Atlanta. Again, a name that I've been saying, this is my 3rd week saying it, Allen Robinson is a name to keep an eye on because a veteran receiver could help put this team over the top. The defense is good. They couldn't get a stop at the end of the game. Derek Barnett had, once again, personal fouls that cost this team possibly the game. But this is an Eagles team that is young, that is maturing, that is growing. I got no problems with it. I really don't because there's no expectations on this season. We don't even know if Jalen Hurts is going to be the quarterback. A lot of people were sold on him week 1. I'm right now not sold on him. He wasn't making bad decisions, but he was struggling to get the ball up. He had a lot of underthrows. And I was there. I saw a lot of these plays where the ball was underthrown by half a yard. And he should learn from that. And I expect him to learn from that. Jalen Reagor stepping out of bounds, that's because of experience. Running some sort of weird trick play on 4th down, trying to get fancy with it, and Greg Ward unable to execute, that's because they're a young team, and that probably was not a play they practiced an awful lot. There's nothing here that says they're a bad football team, but there is a lot here that says they're a young, immature football team. So as of right now, two takes I've taken that have been notable. One, the Eagles are a young team and they're going to lose a lot of close games this year, like the Chargers did last year. And two is that Aaron Rodgers is a diva and causes a lot of issues. We have to have a conversation about that today because he looked quite good last night. But we'll talk about that in a little bit when we do around the NFL. Bottom line is this. The Eagles met my expectations this weekend. They played a very talented San Francisco 49ers. They play a less talented but still very talented Dallas Cowboys on Monday night in Arlington. Overall, there's not much to be mad about. Hurts is going to learn. Sirianni's going to learn. Unless this becomes a habit, I'm not going to be too mad. But again, 13 carries for a guy who averaged 4.2 yards on the ground. If this continues to be a pattern, then yes, we're going to have to turn back to the front office's micromanagement because this coach should want to run the ball. And for reference, last week, of course, they were up to a big lead. They maintained it the whole game, so maybe it's unfair to judge. 15 carries for Miles Sanders. Yesterday had 13, so it's close to fair, but he had his way. Miles Sanders certainly had his way yesterday against a very strong front. And just three other things to mention before I hand it off to Gavin. Number one, Brandon Graham, prayers are with you, my guy. I was right there at the side, on the side of the field where he ruptured his Achilles. He's a fighter, tough guy. It's a big loss on the field. Of course, his presence will still be there post-surgery in the locker room, but until then, he is not going to be there as that cornerstone. Prayers to you. It's a tough injury. It's brutal. A lot of players bounce back from it, though. Hopefully, you can do the same. And number two, Brandon Brooks, pectoral sprain, put on IR. He'll be out for a couple of weeks. This is his third injury in 3 years. He's played 1.5 games now. They paid him a lot of money. Not sure what the next course of action is for a guy who can't stay healthy. We'll talk about another player who used to be an Eagle that can't stay healthy either in here in just a few minutes. But my final point, Zach Ertz tested positive for COVID. However, there is a chance he plays Monday because he's vaccinated. I don't know how that adds up. But again, not our jobs to determine that. I'm just listening to what the protocol is, what I'm being told. But Gavin, to you, a couple key things to point out for you, I imagine, is how the Eagles did this weekend, how they looked as a team, how Sirianni coached, how they ran the ball. And then, of course, some of the injuries, and then just how good the Niners are, maybe. And then, of course, looking forward to Dallas. You have the floor.
Well, to answer your last point, from what I understand, when you're vaccinated, you have to show 2 negative tests or 1 negative test. I don't know, Zach. It doesn't make sense to me. The world doesn't make sense. That's neither here nor there. Now, going to the game on Sunday, Zach, I wasn't really too upset about it. I was upset about a few things. I mean, if you go back and look at it, the Eagles dominated the 49ers in yards per play, which is out of 6.0 versus 4.5 yards per play. And they dominated them in total yards, which is 328. The only thing they didn't do too well on, which is passing. And this is as a whole, this is a team. I mean, third down efficiency, 5 out of 12 or 6-14. You're 0-1 on fourth down, 55 plays. Okay, all of that. But Nick Sirianni, it's inexcusable. It's like I told you this yesterday. I like the aggressiveness sometimes. There was no need to do the Philly special in the red zone. Just get your points or run the football, because at that time the game wasn't even out of hand yet. You still had a chance to keep yourself in this game. Just numerous times where I see Nick Sirianni just go for it when he didn't need to. Zach, and another thing is run the football. You right there. How many times and how many times have you said when you run the ball over 25 times or more, what happens with the Eagles? They win, right?
They win. 25 times by a running back, 25 times by them. I mean, Hurts, some of those, the plane carries you can count, but it's touch and go there. They were 13-4, 13 runs for Sanders, 4 runs for Gainwell, and then I think probably I'd say 4 or 5 for Hurts that were playing, not scrambles.
And Zach, Sanders was 4.3 yards per carry. That's on 13 rushes. You didn't even run them in the red zone, not even once. Look at the wide receivers. I mean, Devontae Smith I expected him not to have a great game every week. Quez Watkins only had one nice catch, and that was pretty much it after that. I mean, Zach, how do you not score a 91-yard pass? That doesn't make sense to me.
There were a lot of underthrown balls. Rager was open for one. Watkins was open for at least one. Smith was open for one, and Hurts underthrew them.
Hurts' accuracy is another thing that's eye-raising, because that's back-to-back weeks where there'll be balls that should be led that weren't, or that the receiver has to come back to the receiver tight end, like last week in Atlanta, where Zach Ertz should have had a couple more yards, and instead he had to end up coming back to the ball and kind of trapping it, didn't catch it. But these are all growing pains. Zach, you're right. This is going to be the Chargers of last year where they're going to lose a lot of close possession games. On the health side of things and the defensive side of things, Derek Barnett's been doing the same thing every year. It never fails. It's like, how many times has he committed the same damn penalty over and over again? You saw it in person twice, even in Green Bay. Going back to Green Bay, what was that, 2 years ago, right? It wasn't last year, 2 years ago.
He knocked Jamal Williams out of the game.
Exactly. Why? How do you not learn from your simple mistakes? It's not even a mistake no more. I think this is on purpose. And the loss of Brandon Graham is going to hurt a lot. Guys like Ryan Kerrigan's going to step up. Maybe this is time when we actually get to see more Josh Sweat and that contract actually come into play. Zach, he got paid a lot of money.
And he barely played. I'm going to pull the snap count because I read an article today. You keep going, but I'm going to pull this up. And
then Zach, you got to just think about the secondary. They did their job for the most part. Zach, I think the defense did pretty fantastic job until the end where your offense isn't putting up points and you're playing bend but don't break. You're going to break after a while when you can't put up points. Zach, this game is going to be overreacted about or anything. I expected them to win because it was Jimmy Garoppolo. I think they get back on track this week and have a better performance against Dallas.
Yeah, and Josh Sweat, who took 28 defensive snaps, that is equivalent to 40%. That's just barely above Milton Williams, which I don't even know who that is, honestly. And he had almost as many as Josh Sweat did. So hopefully they go to the drawing board. Hopefully they adapt. There's nothing wrong with having a bad week. It's about how you bounce back from it. We're going to find out. I think this Dallas game is actually really crucial to learn about what this coaching staff is made of, because this week we saw a lot of repetitive habits from the last, say, administration, Doug Peterson, Jim Schwartz era. So we're going to find out. It's only game 2. Relax, pump the brakes. We know where this team comes from. Phone, of course. But, yeah, we're going to find out. And I think that's going to be the major – this week coming up against the Dallas Cowboys is going to be the major deciding factor of how this team responds.
Zach, this is going to be the test because you said yesterday, if the Eagles lose to the Dallas Cowboys this week, the city is after everybody on the team. And it was no longer about being fun no more. As of right now, we're looking at this 1-1. It was a bad week. We'll bounce back. But it's like losing to Dallas Cowboys is something different. It's not losing to the Chiefs. So it's not losing to, the Rams, anybody. This is the damn Cowboys. This is serious business here. Zach, you have to go on primetime Monday Night Football, which I will be watching the Eli and Peyton Manning broadcast because I get a laugh out of that. And I'll be watching. And I'm hoping for a better performance. I hope Nick Sirianni and his regime can bounce back and play better. I hope Jalen Hurts can have a better performance because last week was not good at all. But, guys, remember, this is Jalen Hurts. That was Jalen Hurts' seventh career start? Or it's low. It is not high. It's low.
Saints, Cardinals, Cowboys, Washington football team, Falcons, 6 start. That was a 6.
6 start. So let's pump the brakes on them, Zach. You're right. For long term, I'm not sure yet. I did like I saw week 1. Didn't look too great week 2. I got to see what week 3 looks like. It can't be up and down. It has to be because you're either going up or you have to be consistently going up or just consistent. Don't be up and down because that's not going to work.
Yeah, I agree. Putting up a lot of points last week on the Atlanta Falcons coming out this week. Just one more final stat to read before we go to around the NFL. Miles Sanders averaged 4.9 yards per carry in week 1, 4.2 yards per carry in week 2. He's looked good. He's looked good. You got to use him.
No response. You're right. Got to use them. And Brandon Brooks, I want you to stay healthy. You're too good not to be playing for this team.
It's a big difference maker. I can tell you that for sure. All right, coming up now, we're going to be breaking down every game from this last week, a sentence or less to describe each one. Washington and the Giants, hot garbage. Giants aren't good. They started out 0-2 for the 5th straight year. Gavin, thoughts on New York?
You spend all that money and Daniel Jones still can't take you to the promised land. Zach, they're allergic to winning. And real quick, that Washington defense might be fool's gold. They can't stop anybody right now.
All right, Raiders, Steelers, early MVP candidate Derek Carr over 800 yards in his first 2 games. And the Steelers' offense is broken. Big Ben's time is over 1 year too late.
Big Ben got popped, and let's pump the brakes on Derek Carr. It's not about how you start, it's how you finish, Zach.
We're going to find out. 2-0 start for them. Texans, Browns. Run. Browns had 2 guys, Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, have very good days on Sunday. Baker Mayfield looked good as well. Granted, injuries on the Texans side, and the Texans being the Texans, but 31-21, good fight put up by the Texans, but the Browns are clearly the better team. They're beating the inferior opponents. That's all that matters for a team like Cleveland right now.
Do what you're supposed to do. Run the football, keep the ball Baker Mayfield's hands, and you'll be all right.
Next game, Broncos-Jags. Hot seat already. Urban Meyer losing his second game. I'm not too worried about it. It's too early to tell, but Broncos look good 2-0 as well.
This isn't college. This is not college. You don't run anything. Urban, Trevor Lawrence. This isn't college.
Saints-Panthers. Not much to read into on that one. 8 coaches out because of COVID-19 protocols. Not really able to prep the guys all week. Winston looks mediocre out there. We're going to find out what that team's made of, but credit to the Carolina Panthers. They put up a good fight. They're also 2-0.
You need Michael Thomas. That's it.
Rams-Colts. Colts in trouble early, 2-0. Or I'm sorry, 0-2. They played 2 good teams. They play another good team this week. Carson Wentz hasn't seemed to be the issue, but he now has 2 sprained ankles, might not be playing this coming Sunday. Offensive lines looks pedestrian. Defense has not been able to get the job done. Matt Stafford looks great. Cooper Kupp looks phenomenal. Whoever's running back this way, I think Darrell Henderson got hurt this week, but Rams looked really good. Colts, not so much, 0-2.
I think it's a mixture between Sony Michel and Henderson in the crew. Zach, Carson Wentz has no heart. I get it, sprained ankles, but at some point you got the will. The will do you want to be out there? It's a 3-point game. You had the ball, and you send Easton out there. He throws an interception. Carson Wentz looks horrible. Looks like a hot trash. And I feel bad for the Colts. I like the Colts. Great offensive line. Looks pedestrian. Zach, you're right about everything you said, but Carson Wentz has no heart.
Yeah, Carson Wentz in that second game, 64.5% completion percentage, which is below average. 247 yards, a touchdown, a pick, a passer rating of 86. He's got a passer rating of 95 on the year, but again, 0-2, so stats aren't too relevant at that point. Next game on our list, Bills-Dolphins. Tua bust? I don't know at this point. Suffering an injury. They don't look good at all. Their O-line apparently has been really bad. Defense clearly did not look good. They had a few takeaways, but got shut out by Buffalo at home. Miami, a promising team last year, a team I was very high on before the season started, might be heading down the wrong direction.
Congrats. You beat a Tua-less Dolphins. And you didn't even put that many points on the board. Zach, the Bills might be overrated. That's what I'm going.
Might be 35-0 again in that one. We'll see how they do next couple weeks. Schedule gets tougher. Patriots, Jets. The Belichick trend continues. Rookie quarterbacks are absolutely horrible against Bill Belichick. I don't think rookie quarterbacks ever beaten them. And that's no surprise. Zach Wilson, welcome to the AFC East.
Zach, 2 pass attempts, 2 interceptions. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not trying to laugh, but Jets fans, I don't know what to tell you guys. Mac Jones looked good. That's what I'm going to say. He looked good.
All right, here, next game, Bengals-Bears. Fields time. Andy Dalton suffering a knee injury. No name starter yet, but Justin Fields inevitably should be the starter, dressing Nick Foles and making him the backup, but Foles should not start over Fields. If he does, Matt Nagy should be fired on the spot. Ryan Pace worked really hard to trade up for Fields. No excuse but to use him at this point.
Just put the man in. The offense looks better with him. The second looked a little bit rough, but you get thrown into a situation like that without full preparation. This week you get full preparation. I feel like next week will be better. But this guy, Matt Nagy and Brian Pace, they just need to go. They're just terrible. They need to be fired today.
Buccaneers-Falcons, 17-0. This Buccaneers team got a lot of hate last year. I told you last year, I said it's going to take some time for them to mesh together, but they will. This Buccaneers team has scored 30 points in 7 or 8 games straight, including 4 playoff games. Tom Brady threw for 5 touchdowns, 276 yards. Mike Evans, 75 yards. Godwin, 62. Gronkowski, 2 touchdowns. Is anybody going to beat the Bucs? Tom Brady, MVP as well. Is he getting younger? I don't know what to say anymore. This Bucs team is incredible.
Zach, it's avocado ice cream. Is that what he eats? I guess we all gotta invest in that. I think that's what it is. Zach, it's 44 to 21. Tom Brady looks phenomenal right now. I know it's the Cowboys and the Falcons, so let's pump the brakes a little bit. But I agree with you. This team's on a roll. They might be the team to beat.
Vikings, Cardinals, same old woes. Both teams, great fights. 34-yard game-winning field goal is missed by the Vikings. Only Minnesota.
It's not about how you start, Zach. It's about how you finish. I'll say the same thing about the Cardinals and free Justin Jefferson. I'm going to start that train.
Titans, Seahawks back on track after a embarrassing blowout in week 1 for Tennessee. Derrick Henry and the guys went on to have a phenomenal game. Ryan Tannehill and Julio Jones finally starting to connect on some plays. But Derrick Henry was, of course, the story, the conversation for that team. This was a great game for both teams. The Seahawks, of course, putting up a great fight, losing in overtime, 3 points on the board, of course, through a field goal. Derrick Henry, 35 carries, Tannehill, 27 of 40 for 347 yards. Julio Jones, 6 receptions for 128 yards.
All the offense in the world, and you still can't stop nobody. Zach, you got to play defense at some point. Tennessee, you gave up, 30-something points, came back to win. Derrick Henry with a mean stiff arm. Zach, it's whatever to me. On to next week.
All right, next game on our list. Cowboys, Chargers, a very good game, very close. Justin Herbert, unfortunately, unable to get the job done. They lose a 3-point possession game, their first one-possession loss of the year, to the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys and Chargers both sitting at 1-1. The Chargers somehow in last place in their division. Every other team sits at 2-0. But Justin Herbert is the real deal, but so are the Cowboys.
Missed calls, bad calls, and Micah Parsons looks like a top 10 defensive edge rusher. I'll let that sink in.
Good game overall for them. We're going to see what happens. Of course, the rookie out of Penn State making his impact early. Next game, Sunday Night Football, Chiefs, Ravens, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Big fumble late in the game. He was my second-round draft pick in 2 of my leagues. I benched him in both for Melvin Gordon. Gordon only got 9 points, but Helaire only got 2.6. I would have lost one of my leagues if I did not make that decision. So I'm not too angry with it. I might be dropping him. But, yeah, a game that should have been won by the Chiefs. It did not. But a lot of credit to Lamar Jackson coming back from 2 interceptions, including a pick 6 early to win that game and finally defeat Patrick Mahomes.
Big trust. Big trust. Zach, Lamar Jackson did it in the air, did it on the ground. A little bit struggling the first set through the air, but guess what, Zach? He put the team on his back, literally, and ran them into the win. Zach, big trust. That's all I got to say. He's here. He's here. He's going to get paid. I know how we feel about paying people and big contracts, especially quarterbacks, but if he could beat the Chiefs, it's that defense that looks really bad for Kansas City today.
Yeah, also a shout-out to that Ravens front office. Very quietly in the offseason, very good acquisition, Sammy Watkins. Of course, rookie wide receiver who is hurt. But, of course, Marquise Brown starting to come into his own as Mark Andrews and some of the other tight ends continue. The final game of the week, Packers, Lions. So what?
So what?
So what?
So what?
Jared Goff, 26 of 36, 246 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a late pick. Not much done on the ground for the running game, but they had an early fight, as they usually do. But Green Bay ran away with it. Aaron Rodgers, 22 of 27, 255 yards, 4 TDs. And shout out to Aaron Jones, who had 67 yards on the ground with a touchdown, but of course also had 3 receiving touchdowns. Devontae Adams also looked good. This team does not look anything like the team it was last week. They look like they did not miss a beat from last year, but still not good enough to win the Super Bowl. And Aaron Rodgers still has quite the hangups here in his last dance.
Well,
I need to see more.
Well, first of all, Zach, I'm not going to sit here and let you just bash Aaron Rodgers a day after. Zach, did you know that Aaron Rodgers is 7-0 on Monday Night Football?
Probably
7-0.
the Lions.
Did you also know that, Zach, after a Matt LaFleur loss, they always bounce back, and Aaron Rodgers does not throw an interception in the next game. Also, Zach, my final point is, say what you want about the drama and everything. Aaron Rodgers showed up last night when they needed him to, but that defense is still atrocious. It hasn't gotten any better.
Yeah, Rodgers is done in Green Bay after this year. We know that. We don't know what his future looks like. Maybe Denver. Denver looks like they're quarterback away.
Right? It's a beautiful mystery.
We're going to find out conversation to come in the offseason. All right, looking forward at this week's games. I don't remember off the top of my head. Oh, no, now I see it. Panthers-Texans, Thursday Night Football. Again, a bad matchup. Primetime games this week are Panthers-Texans on Thursday. Packers-Niners next Sunday night in San Fran. It's a tale of 2 years ago. Let's see what happens. I got San Fran in that one, obviously. And then Monday night, Eagles-Cowboys. So some good primetime games lined up for us, minus Thursday Night Football. Other notable matches, which, of course, we'll go over here later in the week. Seahawks, Vikings, Buccaneers, and Rams. And then Bengals-Steelers is going to be a sleeper game to keep an eye on. And then just looking across the list, Colts-Titans, Bears-Browns, and Chiefs-Chargers, another big one. Let's see how the Chiefs can respond. Both teams, Chiefs and Chargers, needing a win next week. We'll cover that all and more later in the week. But coming up after this, the Philadelphia Phillies, they're still in it somehow.
No.
They're somehow still in it. They win 2 of 3 against the Mets. They dropped 2 straight now, including one to the Baltimore Orioles, the worst team in baseball. Can they bounce back tonight, win, and show some life? Yeah, it's still possible with 12 games left. I'll break it down after this.
Would you like to know how you can support the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show? If so, head down to the comments on our YouTube channel. You will see 2 links there. The first is our Teespring, where you can see a wide variety of apparel products, including our signature product, the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show sweatshirts, offered in a variety of different colors, including gray, navy blue, and more. Finally, we have our Patreon page, where you can become a monthly donation member. 10% of all donations go towards an organization of our viewers' choice. We hope that you enjoyed today's episode, and if you can't donate, that's okay, because you can always share this.
Baseball's a long season. I've said it a lot. You're going to lose a lot of games that you shouldn't lose. But it's expected at this point that the Phillies and any team that wants to contend can actually go out there and get the job done. With that being said, the Philadelphia Phillies today, they had a chance the other night. They were 1 game back in the division. They dropped a loss. Braves were able to just salvage the Giants series for a win, 2 games back, and then last night, 1-0 loss on both directions. The Phillies right now sit at 76 and 74. I will say this, though. There was a point yesterday where they had a better record than the San Diego Padres. So there is something to that. And we'll discuss that later because that's some more drama. But the Philadelphia Phillies were 5-5 in their last 10. So are the Braves. So 10 games ago, the Phillies were in this exact position. They won 4 straight. But the Atlanta Braves and the Philadelphia Phillies, again, when is it going to be over? When am I going to stop defending the Phillies? When am I going to stop saying, all right, enough's enough, they're done? I'll tell you when. I'm going to go through, once again, I'm pulling it up as I've done all season long, Gavin. But it was with the Mets before, so maybe I can speak this one into existence as well.
Go ahead.
But the Phillies are far from out of it. And here's why. They can easily rip off the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games straight. They need to. They need to win 5 of the next 6. And that is against the Orioles and the Pirates, the 2 worst teams in baseball, both of which are homestands. And the Pirates series, you're going to have all your pitchers going on the mound. Assuming that the Phillies win the next 3, which is Orioles, Pirates, and assuming the Braves win their next 3, which is Diamondbacks, the Phillies will be 3 games out of first place. The Phillies then play the Pirates 2 times, while the Braves have to play the Padres 3 times. So let's suppose the Phillies win both those games, and the Braves end up losing 2 and winning 1. They win 1 game in the series, which the Padres are a bad team now, so there's a chance that doesn't happen. That would leave the Phillies 1.5 games out going into that second-to-last series of the season, which is the Phillies and the Braves. If the Phillies lose any more than 1 more game between now and that Braves series, I will officially wave the white flag and say the Phillies are done. But if the Phillies are 1.5 games out or better going into that final series, they will have a chance. Because as it lines up right now, I'm going to check on my phone. MLB, the app, you got to download it if you see this MLB sponsor us. But I can see the starting pitcher for tonight. It is important that they make it work so that it goes Wheeler, Nola, Gibson in those 3 games against the Braves. Tonight is a bullpen game. Oh, my God. I might wave the white flag now. But
you should.
Wheeler goes tomorrow. So Wheeler, Nola, Gibson are the first 3 games. If I go here and try. So Wheeler, Nola, Gibson, Suarez. So Wheeler will go Thursday, September 23rd. He needs to pitch Tuesday, September 28th. That is 5 days of rest. He needs to go at that point. So here's how it looks. Tonight's a bullpen game. Tomorrow is it Wheeler tomorrow? I got to double check. I'm sorry. Yeah, so tomorrow is Wheeler. So if it works out correctly, if the Phillies can use the offense tonight and salvage a bullpen win game against the worst team in baseball, they win tomorrow with Wheeler, they win with Nola, they win with Gibson, they win with Suarez. Maybe they drop the last game of that Pirates series because it's a bullpen game or just because baseball is baseball, and you're 1.5 back. You have to go. At that point, you're going Wheeler on the 28th, Nola the 29th, and then at that point, you got to go Gibson the 30th, and Ranger Suarez is your next guy off the bench. You need to have another starting pitcher ready to go in that series. You can't be going with Bailey Fulton or some of those other guys. It needs to be a 4-man rotation from here on out. I think Jojo already knows that. Apparently, maybe he doesn't because he's going bullpen tonight. But they should get the win tonight. They play 3 games against the Braves, but then they got to play 3 games against the Marlins, and the Braves have to play 3 games against the Mets. So I don't know what to say at this point. Time will tell. I'm not going to speak on this matter again until next week, or if they lose 2 games between now and Thursday when we come on next, I will say this season is done. But the fact that they're still in it this late and they have a chance to surge now, they're improving year by year, but it's still frustrating, and there's a lot to be repaired in the offseason. We'll talk about that, of course, in detail. But just put it in perspective, considering if they win tonight, they'll have the same record as the San Diego Padres.
Well, Zach, before we get into the Padres, you follow the Phillies on Instagram, right? Did you see what they put up yesterday? They talked about we need all the fans to show up. And guess what I put on the Instagram? I said, yo, we've been here. Where have you been? Because, Zach, the last time I checked, we sat here before school. We sat here a couple weeks ago, a couple weeks ago. And what did we say? We said the Phillies need to go on a run. That run consists of the worst team in baseball, one of the worst teams in baseball, in the Arizona Diamondbacks, who they couldn't beat, by the way, Zach. And then
those games are going to hurt us. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to pull up some of those.
And then you have last night where you couldn't beat the Orioles. Zach, you couldn't beat the Orioles. The Orioles haven't been good for the world's longest time. I mean, Zach, I have to go back to figure out the last time the Orioles were good. That was the last time Chris Davis got to hit a baseball. I mean, and that was a long time ago. That's when Manny Machado, everybody liked them until now. Look. And then you got the Pirates. Earlier in the year, the Pirates actually gave us some trouble. Jack, this is not easy games. You look at this and you should say, well, by the end, when this is all said and done, the Phillies should not only be in first place, sole possession of first place by at least a game and a half or 2. They're not going to be because we've seen this team over the years. Now, I'm not trying to come off as a hater or a non-fan, Zach. I know I wear hats that have nothing to represent the Phillies. I have this coaster that I use because I had to put a drink on it to cover up the disappointment that lies on the surface of the coaster. But I do want them to go. I really do want to go, Zach. If they go to the playoffs, me and you should figure out a way we should combine our money so me and you can go to one playoff game because I feel like we deserve it. We'll figure it out. But guess what? It's not going to happen because they're just going to let us down. They are the Dallas Cowboys of baseball. Stop. Don't get your – they will let you down whenever you get it. Whenever you get your hopes up. Zach, you were let down a couple of days ago. And guess what? And when you text me and say, oh, it's over, guess the first thing I said? I said, I told you so. I didn't even try to sugarcoat it. I didn't even try to lie to you. I said, I told you so because it's the truth. The Phillies do the same thing every year, but I am shocked that they are in it at the end of the year. That's surprising. So how bad the season went, they are in it. Now, you talk about the pitching, you talk about Wheeler. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. No matter who you throw out there, they're going to get ripped a new one for 8 runs or something. I mean, Zach, you saw a team last night lose to the Baltimore Orioles, who the only notable people on that team is John Means, who's not even that good as a pitcher. I have so much respect for Trey Mancini, and Cedric Mullins, the all-star. That's it. That's all they have. Nobody else. Not a single soul. And the words of Flight Reacts, the rest are nobodies. That's the truth. That's the truth. So you look at this and you say, well, the Braves don't have Acuna. Freddie Freeman, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I don't think he's not having like a year he had last year. And they're still winning games. It's like you go out, you have one of the highest payrolls. I think we talked about it. It's
the highest. Phillies the 5th highest.
Say that again?
The Phillies have the 5th highest.
The 5th highest. That's top 5 in all baseball. And you can't win. You can't win. Zach, I need to inject the Phillies with this winning gene, this winning vaccine or something, because they're allergic to winning. They refuse to take it. I don't know why. But Zach, I'm coming on this show today. If the Phillies go on a run and they magically make the playoffs, me and you should seriously sit down and figure out how me and you could go to a game. I'm not joking. A playoff. We deserve one. Just one. I don't want to go more. I just want to go one. If they make it. And if not, it just be another winter like it always is, or another fall like it always is for us. Just another day.
Focused on football, and that's not going to be that good. The conversation for the division is of course what's been talked about. Just to give everybody perspective here on the wild card as well. Right now, as it stands, St. Louis has that spot. Cincinnati, San Diego, and Philly, top three to get that next spot. 4.5 games back are the Phillies in that, so it's kind of tough for them to look at that. It looks like it's going to be a division or nothing. But some breaking news coming out revolving the Phillies. Stay tuned. This is some big news coming up. MV3 is coming to life. Bryce Harper officially is now the favorite to win MVP. It's nice, it's happy, but of course it's kind of painful if they don't make the playoffs after all that. But back to what I was talking about. We can react to this in a minute, but it's not. I mean, it's whatever. Bryce Harper has done his part this year. Leads the league in WAR, wins above replacement, but July 30th is where we go back to, and this is kind of where this team started going on this up and down road that we've been searching for. And, of course, they finally broke above the 500 barrier during that month of August. So they lose to the Pirates 7-0. They lose to the Pirates 3-2. They beat the Pirates 15-4. This is when their run starts. They beat the Nationals 4 times. They swept the Mets. They lose to the Dodgers in a game where Aaron Nola looked lights out until it rained. The next game, implosions. They beat them in the last game. They salvaged it. The Red Series was painful. Zach Wheeler looked horrible in those games. They dropped 2 of 3. Here's where it's going to cost them. They lose to the Diamondbacks 3 times in a row, scoring 2 runs in each of those games. They win 2 of 3 from the Padres. They get swept by the Rays, but then they get hot again. They beat the Diamondbacks 3 times, beat the Nationals 3 times, and then they lose to the Marlins twice. Beat the Brewers, lose to the Brewers, lose to the Brewers, and then lose to the Rockies twice, 3 times, lose to the Cubs, and then that's kind of where we go. So the pattern. They get hot, they get cold, and they need to get hot right now. So if I have to go back, it's that Diamondback series they got swept in. That I would say is the turning point of the season when we realized they would not be a playoff team. We're going to find out, though. We're going to see what this team's made of in this last 2 weeks. Let's see what they can do.
They need to get hot. It's like this red and blue background we have right now represents this team, the Phillies. Which, Zach, I mean, me and you going back and forth about it is we need to change it because it's not. I don't know. I know you're going to throw the purple and gold background, so maybe we should just keep this right here, I guess. But all jokes aside, Zach, it's been a while, and there it is, ladies and gentlemen. No, but all jokes aside, ladies and gentlemen. It's getting outrageous. It's getting ridiculous. You have the top 5 most spending in all baseball. You have the guy that you spent $330 million on having a lights out year, and you can't get no help. JT Realmuto, who we also begged, Zach, me and you, we sat here, we prayed, and we begged for the guy to come back, and he comes back and gives us absolutely nothing. Alec Boehm, who showed a lot of promise last year. We actually went on the show and was a little bit upset that he didn't win NL MVP. Regress. Didi Gregorius, one of my favorites. Can't hit a baseball. Don't spend any money on the bullpen. Same thing. Got a little bit better. Maybe worse. I don't know. It's the same stuff every year, Zach. If they go to the playoffs, let's put our money together and go to a game. But if not, let's go somewhere else. I don't know.
I mean, all that, and they're still in the playoff race. That shows why this team can be so good. So we'll find out. We'll see how that rolls before we do transition over to basketball. Let's talk about the San Diego Padres real quick. Fernando Tatis and Manny Machado seen in a yelling spritz the other night. They are in some trouble right now. Currently, San Diego Padres, who were very much above 500 at one point and were even fighting with the Dodgers for that second place spot, sit at 76 and 73. They are 2-8 in their last 10. They're 20.5 games back. They're only 6 games ahead of the Rockies in their division. And for some reference, the Mets are 6 games back of the Braves right now. So, Gavin, some thoughts on what's going on in San Diego right now?
Well, Zach, it's about the egos. We know what Manny Machado brings. We know how he plays baseball. And did you get a chance to listen to the argument?
I've just read very minimal.
So basically, just summing up for you, Zach, there is hot mics, so you can hear it. Manny is basically telling Tatis, it's not always about you. We get it, you're the best player in baseball, but it's not about you. Just play baseball. We know you're the best. It's about the team. It's about winning. And Tatis throws on this diva-ish attitude, if you want to call it that, about a strikeout or a call. Ball
arguing the pitch, yeah.
Arguing the pitch, almost gets ejected, and Manny's trying to say, it's not always about you. He's carrying on in the dugout with bad energy, acting like a diva, and Manny didn't had enough of it. So, and Manny, and this argument, everybody's gonna come and look at Manny Machado because Tatis is the favorite. He's the star. He's the future. But Manny Machado's not wrong. It's not always about you. It's not about you. We get you're one of the best players in baseball, Zach. I lie on that argument. I think it's like man in LA and right field named Mookie Betts. But that's not an argument for the day. Just play baseball. You don't got to show your best every day. You don't got to make a highlight every day. Just win the game. It's all about there's no I in team. But there is MEE. There is an MEE in that. But if you're Kobe Bryant, but that's near here nor there. Zach, what I'm trying to say is the argument they're making it seem worse as it is. I understand it. I see what Manny Machado is coming from. Could it be done behind closed doors? Of course. But that just goes to show there's no real leadership on that team. There's no there's the manager is failing because you have all those stars. You have Darvish, you have Musgrove, you have Blake Snell on IR. You have guys like Cronenworth. You got Adam Frazier. You have a nice bullpen. And you're in third place. It's like no one expected the Giants to do what they did this year.
It was supposed to be Dodgers and Padres, and look, they missed out on Max Scherzer. The Padres did. Went to LA instead, and it's all been downhill for the Padres since they're looking at potentially missing the playoffs again this year. We're going to see what happens. We're going to see how this rolls out. As I always say, time will tell. It really will. A lot of storylines in the offseason for baseball. We'll talk about that in October as that time comes. But speaking of divas, coming up after this, number 25, first overall pick in 2016, Ben Simmons officially making it very clear to the Sixers organization he will not be reporting to training camp here in the coming week. Our reactions and more on the future of Ben Simmons in Philly. I'll keep it plain and simple, and we'll do that after this.
We are now offering a new product on our Teespring. Wear a mask in public. We are now supporting a custom-designed mask with our logo on it. Purchase it today, and 10% goes to a foundation of our viewers' choice. It offers a full nose and mouth coverage, single-sided print, includes 2 2-inch elastic ear loops, non-medical grade product, and finally, $1 from every mask sale is donated to a nonprofit to feed children in need. Enjoy today's episode.
All right, well, bluff was called. Ben Simmons not reporting to camp next week. Not expected to play ever again for the 76ers. I'll keep it simple. Let him hold out until you get a good trade. Damian Lillard will want out at some point from Portland, whether it's this year or next year. Simmons has 4 years left on his contract. I'll let him sit. Take on those fines. Tyrese Maxey gets in there. You're going to have to get some more players to compensate. They'll still be a playoff team with Joel Embiid in there. But I don't know how good they can be without Ben or an equal-like replacement. I would not trade him for John Wall or any sort of package here that includes Daniel House or some picks that I'd seen projected in the past. That's kind of how I stand on it. Ben Simmons is mad at this team for virtually no reason. His lack of progression, and still at least half of this fan base supported him, even though he refused to shoot.
Is that it? That's what you got?
That's all I got. That's all I got on Ben Simmons.
I just want to make sure I didn't want to cut you off.
Take it away.
You know what, Zach? I'll say this. I'm not gonna be nice either when I say this either. You want out because it's your fault. It's your fault that you won't get better. It's your fault that you refuse to improve. It's your fault that you didn't dunk the ball. It's your fault that this team underperforms every year in the playoffs. Because let me tell you something. I don't know how the hell he's an all-star. Who keeps voting for Ben Simmons in the first place? All-stars are the tippy-top tier players. You got guys like Kevin Durant, your best friend LeBron James. We got guys like Joel Embiid, Damian Lillard, Steph Curry. The list goes on and on. But how in the world does Ben Simmons keep making it to an All-Star game? I mean, Zach, I get defense, but listen here. The coach, Doc Rivers, who's well respected, Zach, we know he has a shaky record in history with a few things dating back in his Clippers days. But he came on the record and said, when he was asked, "Are you going to force Ben Simmons to shoot?" What is the first thing he said? "I want Ben to do what Ben does best." And that might not be direct quote, Zach, but that's what he wasn't forcing no issue. So okay, so if you're Ben Simmons, you're not being forced to do anything that we know of. I don't think Daryl Morey was putting any pressure on because the team was winning. The team was in first place. The team was relatively in first place the whole year. All you had to do was just improve. You don't improve. You sat there. You never developed, not once. You are the worst pick I've ever seen in my life. And I've seen so many terrible ones. And Zach, Markelle Fultz is a bad one too. But right now, Markelle Fultz is showing at least some improvement every time he steps on the court, Zach. You have shown none. You're just a 6'10" waste of space that doesn't do anything on the court. You take up a roster spot on the team. They paid you $100 and some odd million. Zach, me and you could be on the Sixers. Let's split that 100 and whatever million he got. Let's split it. Both down the middle. Because guess what? I don't have to shoot. You have to shoot because he never shoots. Well, Ben Simmons is a great playmaker. Ben Simmons, I don't care. Zach, I can pass the ball. Can you?
I think anybody can. That's not.
Anybody can. Can you play defense? To a certain point, we both can. But the fact of the matter is, Ben Simmons gets babied by his supporting cast. They tell him he never has to do better. If LeBron James mentors him and thinks that he's going to be the next, people call him the next LeBron James. That's an insult. And I'm not the world's biggest LeBron guy, but damn it, Zach, that's an insult to LeBron James, and he deserves an apology from Ben Simmons. And the fact of the matter is, I'm still trying to figure out, because I looked at it. It's like I looked at the whole year, this whole past season as a whole. I said, what did the Philadelphia 76ers do wrong to make him mad? Nothing. Not a damn thing. It's like he's soft. He's thin-skinned. He doesn't deserve to be in the NBA. And I don't care. He can sit there and lose money. If he thinks he's going to go out west, if he thinks he can go to a team like the Lakers and let that fly, do you really think that's going to happen, Zach? You're expected to give your best, and you're going to have to shoot. If you think of go to a team like Golden State, fine. Whatever you do here will work in Golden State because they got the world's greatest shooter that was ever created in on this earth. And another thing, Zach, and this is a question for you too, is Ben Simmons doesn't want to play. Ben Simmons doesn't want to do this. Ben Simmons doesn't want to do that. Why would you ruin something after you saw what the potential is? All you had to do is just be better.
All you gotta do is shoot. He does it in the offseason. Why can't you do it in a game?
Because Zach, it's all for the Instagram. It's all for the flex. Remember you told me a couple weeks ago when you said, did you see Ben Simmons' highlight tape? And I said, Zach, I don't care. I really don't, because it means nothing. It's Zach, I could go outside. I can go to your house and play on your court, and I could drop a highlight tape of me making free throws and shots and step backs and stuff and put it on Instagram, and everybody that follows me is going to like it and be, wow, you're really good. You can do this. You're amazing. Guess what, Zach? But if you put me on a real team, if you put me on a real game, if you put me with our school, and I probably can't do half the stuff I do, because guess what, Zach? It doesn't matter. He's playing against rec bums. He's playing against guys that go to LA Fitness for fun, and they think that's their NBA. They think that's Zach. I told you, the LA Fitness League. That's who he plays against. They're playing against LA Fitness legends that think they're good, but they're really not. They wouldn't fare well in a real game. They just do it for fun. It's like Ben Simmons is one of the worst things that ever happened in the city of Philadelphia. One of the worst things that ever happened in the city of Philadelphia. He done screwed this team over in the long run. He's done screwing Joel Embiid over in the long run. And now it's like, ladies and gentlemen, you got to understand my frustration when I say this. Sit out. Fine. I don't care. Lose your money. Guess what? At some point, you can't keep buying cars. You're not going to be able to afford that house. So something's got to give. Your value. I want you to play because we can show people that you still have somewhat usefulness. Because honestly, Jack, you're really useful. I mean, you're nice height. You're 6'10", nice wingspan. You move like a guard. But guess what? That's it. You don't check that many boxes. You check a lot of defensive boxes, but offensively, you're one-dimensional. Really just one-dimensional. And you continuously hurt this team over and over and over again. I really don't feel bad for Ben Simmons. I defended him before. He is thin. He is soft. Zach, I mean, come on, man. Really?
Three Philadelphia teams had top 2 picks in 2016. First overall, Ben Simmons. First overall, Mickey Moniak. And second overall, Carson Wentz. 2 of them at least either out or on their way out. And Mickey Moniak, of course, has been struggling. So we don't know what that looked like. But that's just an interesting fact. It's unfortunate. It is embarrassing as a player. If you're Ben Simmons, you are not a player that deserves to have earned. He has done nothing in his career to earn the right to sit out. Damian Lillard wants to sit out to get himself on a new team after doing whatever he can for his team to win. Fine. Ben Simmons has done nothing that has ever allowed him to have the right to do this. And Rich Paul, who does he think he's dealing with here? LeBron James? This isn't LeBron James, all right? LeBron James would never do this shit on his team. Joel Embiid would never do this to the city of Philadelphia, even if he wanted to go to Miami and play with Jimmy Butler. If Joel goes out there, drops 30 points a game, gets MVP caliber numbers, and this team still can't get over the hump, if he wants out, all power to him.
Zach, let me say
Ben
this.
Simmons hasn't done it. Sorry, Ben Simmons hasn't done a dang thing for this team. Yes, he is arguably, in my opinion, still the best all-around defender in the NBA. But he's soft, and soft players don't win. They don't. They are done. There's an expression, winners are losers that went one more time. And Ben Simmons, you are a loser. All right? You can change my mind. You can get out there. You can start playing. I'll give you another chance.
I'm not giving you
another chance. Because honestly, right now, there's nothing else you can trade for that's going to make your team better. Unless it's Damian Lillard or Steph Curry. And I would say to Ben Simmons, fine. You don't want to play? Sit. Stay out. I'm not moving you until there's something worthwhile doing. Make up your mind. You're not going to the Golden State. You're not doing it. All right? You're not going to live your Lamborghini, Kylie Jenner. I'm pretty sure it's not even – I don't even know which one. I don't even know which one it was with. All I know is Devin Booker's doing better than him, but keep my mouth shut on the personal issues of the NBA players. Truth be told, Ben Simmons has all the cards in his hand. He's one of the most skilled players in the league. For some reason, he chooses not to be one of the better players. It baffles me. You give him the Kobe Bryant mentality, he's probably the greatest player of all time. He's got such a unique body frame. You see Kevin Durant out there who's a little skinnier and a little bit worse at defense. But it's the right idea. It's the right idea.
One of the best offensive scorers coming. No, it's like you brought up a good point. You talked about Rich Paul. I'm a big fan of Rich Paul. It's like, I mean, Black excellence, build an empire. We know Rich Paul is one of the best NBA agents in there and everything he brings. But who the hell do you think you are talking for Ben Simmons? You're like, he doesn't earn. Now, if LeBron James, guys, if LeBron James and Kevin Durant and Steph Curry and anyone of those magnitude, those players would be like, you know, I went out, I'm sitting out, I'm not playing. Guess what? They earn the right to. Your friend included, LeBron James. You know why? Because as much as he does, the game, the LA Lakers revolve around LeBron James. No matter how much I don't like to say Zach, but I'm going to come out and admit it. Guess what? This team does not revolve around Ben Simmons. It doesn't. He's just a nice asset that does well when we need him to in the regular season. On the playoffs, he shouldn't even show up at all. Zach, don't even put your jersey on because you really don't even do anything. But to think that you're going to sit, I mean, dude, we're watching like the Houston Texans situation. Zach, I know it's a totally different situation scenario what's going on with Deshaun Watson, but Houston's like, yo, we don't got to move you. We really don't have to. You could just sit here and whatever. And that's what Daryl Morey and the Sixers should do is just be like, yo, just sit here. You're going to lose money. We don't care. Now, the reason why guys like James Harden and Kyrie Irving and got the chance to do what they did because they make impact. Zach, I know you're not the biggest Kyrie Irving guy when it comes to everything he brings to his team, but he makes a bigger impact than Ben Simmons a lot. When James Harden, I wasn't fine about how James Harden handled his business. But guess what, Zach? He makes a bigger impact. Zach, this is a guy in Ben Simmons who head must have got filled that he thinks he can sit down and do whatever he wants. Fine. I saw him at the Chargers game over the weekend. Guess what, Zach? Cool. You keep posting about how you want to be in LA and LA this, LA that. Zach, you don't get to pick where you get to go. If we do ship you off, I hope we send you overseas and you can play there and you can average 100 points if you want to. We don't care. It's like, I mean, we saw it happen with Aaron Rodgers. He sat out. He tried. He said he wasn't going to do anything. He came back. They worked the deal out. It's like Ben Simmons, and I know once again, I know you're not a big Aaron Rodgers guy, but once again, he earned the right to do so. Ben Simmons has earned no right whatsoever to do anything but play the damn game of basketball. Just play the game. We don't care about what you have to say. I really don't care what Rich Paul has to say. And I love Rich Paul to death, but I really don't care what he or you had to say. If you're not going to show up, you owe that man, Joel Embiid, an apology. And Zach, I have a poster there, so I looked over here. And you and everything else. If Joel Embiid were to sit out and say, you know, I don't want to be here no more, guess what? He has the right to, because he's done everything we asked him to do to be here. He was the face of the franchise. Ben Simmons is not. Zach, Ben Simmons is the softest player in the NBA, and I'll reiterate what I said again. Ben Simmons is one of the worst things that ever happened to Philadelphia. One of the worst.
Yeah, this has been a brutal situation all around for them. But I'll wrap it up with this. We'll see what happens. We'll see how it rolls out. I think that at the moment, if I'm the Sixers,
it's going to get messy.
I'm going to not move him until Damian Lillard becomes available, which is inevitable because that Blazers team did nothing to improve in the offseason. So with that being said, training camp is getting underway. Preseason getting started in October, and the season by the end of October will be getting underway. I'm very excited for it, Gavin. We will continue to cover tons of news on that. The Sixers kick off the season in the Big Easy on October 20th at 8 p.m. They then have a home game against Brooklyn. We're going to see how the season goes. We're going to find out what happens with the Ben Simmons saga. But with that being said, J.J. Redick retiring today after 15 seasons. Congratulations to him on his retirement. Around the NBA, not too many other notable moves at the moment. But, of course, this week being another big week in the golf world, although the last season just ended like 3 weeks ago. The new season started last week. Max Homa taking home the win in a relatively weak field. But this week is the Ryder Cup. For those who don't know, Team USA, their best 8 players best 12 go up against Europe's best 12. It's going to be a fun week. It starts on Friday, going Saturday and Sunday. If they win, there is a chance you might see me wearing some USA gear that I might go out of my way and purchase. So keep an eye on that for next week. Maybe the USA can win. They are favorites right now. They should win. And some other interesting news, Brooks Koepka and Bryson DeChambeau apparently having dinner back-to-back nights, and something interesting going on, cracking some jokes with each other on the driving range today. Something to keep an eye on. It appears that this feud might be over.
Zach, you know what that saying is, right? Keep your enemies closer. Keep your enemies closer, Zach. It's fake play. It's all nice in front of the camera. It's all ha ha he he. But deep down inside, they still don't like each other. And Zach, you know what my hope is for this golf season is I can get a Tiger Woods return. Zach, I need it. If not, it's me and Dustin Johnson to the wheels fall.
Dustin Johnson's playing again this week. He was getting hot at the right time. Let's see how it works out. Exciting weekend in golf, of course. Let's go Team USA. Let's hope they win. A very rare time that you're able to root for multiple golfers at once in the same tournament. There are a bunch of different styles of play before the solos matches on Sunday. With that being said, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Gavin, anything else you wanted to say before we wrap up today's show?
Ben Simmons is soft, man. That's all I gotta say. Zach, I'm heated. We'll have to come back another day. And finally, we're gonna talk about Kyrie Irving because there were some comments made. I forget by who, but you sent it to me, and we got Nestle debating off the show, so we have to talk about it another time. But I got nothing for you guys.
All right. With that being said, everybody, thank you so much. Enjoy your Tuesday evening, and we'll see you all Thursday.
Have a good one, everybody.
If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't. In addition, hit that bell icon and set it to all to get reminded of when we go live and when we post excerpts of our videos. Again,